Hey there, fellow history buffs. Today, we're diving into the fascinating history of Africa. Did you know that modern humans first emerged in East Africa around 200,000 years ago? That's right. Our species was born and has been evolving on this vast continent ever since. Fast forward to 18,000 years ago, and we find the first evidence of our species in the Levant. From there, our ancestors began their journey across the world. Now, keep this in mind. Human beings are not native to any landmass. We are all immigrants from Africa. The concept of indigenous people is a relatively new idea that started around 250 years ago. It's important to remember this when discussing current events and labels like indigenous peoples. We all have our roots in Africa, so no one is truly native to any particular place. We are all part of one human family, sharing a common ancestor who lived in Africa tens of thousands of years ago. So there you have it, a quick glimpse into the history and evolution of our species on the African continent. Ethiopia, with its deep roots in human history, is one of the oldest countries in the world. Humans have inhabited this region for millions of years, which makes it a significant part of our global history. The Aksumite Empire was founded around 100 BC and thrived until the 7th century AD. Under Emperor Fasilides' reign, Aksum reached its peak, boasting a population of millions and exerting influence over Arabia and Rome. As we fast forward to the 18th century, you may have heard about Queen Mintwab of Ethiopia. She was instrumental in halting the Muslim advancement into her country in 1777. Fast forward to 1896, and Ethiopia faced a historic defeat against Italy at Adwa. This marked the first time an African nation had successfully defended its sovereignty against a European power on its own soil. That's just a brief glimpse into Ethiopia's past. With a population of over 200 million people, Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa and the 7th largest in the world. Let's explore some key periods and events that have shaped this vibrant nation. Fast forward to 1967, and we find ourselves in a different era, the Nigerian Civil War or Biafra War. This conflict lasted until 1970 and claimed an estimated 1 million lives. Following independence, Nigeria experienced a period of relative stability under the military regime of General Johnson, who introduced universal education. In 1993, however, Nigeria held its first democratic elections for president and parliament. Unfortunately, these elections were cancelled due to widespread violence and manipulation at the hands of General Abacha. Under his rule, Nigeria witnessed a significant increase in oil production and revenue. The history of South Africa can be traced back thousands of years to two early civilizations, the San and Khoikhoi people. The San were hunter-gatherers, while the Khoikhoi were pastoralists who migrated from modern-day Ethiopia to South Africa around 1000 AD. They played a significant role in the region's history, particularly in trading with European traders and settlers. The Dutch East India Company was one of the first European groups to arrive in South Africa in 1652. They established a colony at Cape Town under Jan van Riebeeck and gradually brought over more settlers from Europe. By 1795, after nearly a century of colonization, English settlers had taken control of the entire colony from the Dutch. Fast forward to 1820, and British settlement in South Africa continued to grow under Lord Charles Somerset's administration. During this time, Dutch farmers known as Voortrekkers migrated north from Cape Town into Zululand and beyond. This movement led to numerous conflicts between settlers and local African peoples throughout the mid-19th century. So there you have it, a brief yet enlightening overview of South Africa's historical journey.
Kenya's history dates back thousands of years, with the earliest known inhabitants being hunter-gatherers who later became pastoralists. These early settlers were ancestors of the Khoisan and San peoples. By around 2000 BCE, Cushitic-speaking people migrated to the region from northern Africa. Fast forward to the 1st century AD, and Bantu-speaking farmers began their epic journey southward from West Africa. They settled in Kenya around the 8th century and formed complex societies with advanced iron technology. As we move into the 15th century, Swahili traders established coastal settlements along the Indian Ocean. The Swahili language emerged from a fusion of Arabic, Persian, and local Bantu languages. In 1498, Portuguese explorers arrived on Kenya's shores when Vasco da Gama reached Mombasa. The British then came into the picture in 1842, when John Castle established a mission station near Mombasa. By 1895, British territories in Kenya had expanded significantly following military campaigns against local chiefs. Kenya officially became a British colony in 1920, but gained independence in 1963 with Jomo Kenyatta as its first prime minister.
Congo's history spans thousands of years, filled with diverse cultures and events that shaped the region. One significant moment was the Bantu migration. Starting in the 5th century, people speaking Bantu languages began to move into the region, bringing with them new technologies like agriculture and iron working. This migration had a profound effect on the Congo's culture and identity. Fast forward to the 1800s and colonization took hold. The Congo was divided up between Belgium and Portugal in 1879, setting off a period of intense change in the region. This era was marked by European influence and a shift in power dynamics. As we move through time, it's crucial to remember that Congo's history is complex and multifaceted. From ancient times to colonial rule to modern challenges, each era has left its mark on the region's identity and culture. Understanding this history helps us appreciate the depth and diversity of human experience around the world. Did you know that African societies have long upheld values that promote community, respect, harmony, and resilience? Let's take a look at how these core values have evolved over time. In ancient and pre-colonial Africa, we find the concept of communalism, where the community was valued above the individual. The idea of Ubuntu, a Nguni Bantu term, captures this concept perfectly. Ubuntu emphasizes the importance of community, respect, and harmony, promoting the idea that we are all interconnected and interdependent. As we move into the colonial period, we see the introduction of new values, such as the concept of individualism. However, even in this time, African societies continued to uphold their core values, often adapting and integrating new ideas with their own traditions.
Let's take a journey through time and explore the key periods and events that have shaped Morocco's past. First up, let's talk about the ancient history of Morocco. Did you know that evidence of human habitation in Morocco dates back to the Paleolithic period? That's right. People have been living in this beautiful country for thousands of years. Moving on to the Phoenicians and Carthaginians, around the 12th century BCE, these ancient civilizations established trading posts along the Moroccan coast. By the 6th century BCE, Carthage, a Phoenician city, had a significant presence in the region. As we continue our journey through time, we'll explore the Roman, Vandal, and Byzantine periods, as well as the rise of the Berber kingdoms and the establishment of the Almoravid and Almohad dynasties. So, there you have it, folks. A brief overview of the key periods and events in the history of Morocco.
Somalia's history spans thousands of years, with a rich tapestry of ancient civilizations, colonialism, and modern challenges. So, let's take a journey through the key periods and events in the history of Somalia. First up, we have the ancient and medieval periods. Somalia was home to several ancient civilizations dating back to the 2nd millennium BCE. One of the most intriguing is the land of Punt mentioned in ancient Egyptian texts. Punt was a region known for its gold and incense trading. Next, we have the Islamic period 6th–19th centuries. Somalia became a key player in the Muslim world with the establishment of the Adrian Empire in the 13th century. The 19th century saw the rise of the Sultanate of Hobyo and the Sultanate of Mogadishu. The 20th century brought colonialism to Somalia, with Italy and Britain taking control. In 1960, Somalia gained independence, but the country faced numerous challenges, including civil war and the formation of the Somali Republic. So, there you have it, a brief overview of the key periods and events in the history of Somalia.
Tanzania, a country located in East Africa. Tanzania's history is a rich tapestry woven together by indigenous cultures, Arab traders, European colonialism, and post-colonial developments. So, let's explore the key periods and events that have shaped Tanzania's past. First, let's talk about the pre-colonial period. This era is marked by the ancient inhabitants of Tanzania, who were divided into various groups, including the Bantu, Nilotic, and Cushitic peoples. The Bantu people, in particular, played a significant role in shaping Tanzania's history. Next, let's discuss the ancient inhabitants. Tanzania is home to some of the oldest human fossils ever discovered, found in the Olduvai Gorge. These fossils date back millions of years, making Tanzania a crucial site for paleoanthropology. That's just a taste of Tanzania's fascinating history. Ghana has a rich and diverse history that spans thousands of years, encompassing ancient kingdoms, colonial rule, and modern developments. So, let's take a journey through time and explore the key periods and events in the history of Ghana. First up, we have the ancient and medieval periods. Ghana was home to various ancient kingdoms, including the Ashanti, Fandi, and Godangbi. These kingdoms were characterized by their unique cultures, languages, and political systems. Next, let's talk about the early inhabitants and cultures. Ghana has a long history of human settlement, dating back to prehistoric times. Archaeological evidence suggests that humans have lived in what is now Ghana for thousands of years. The region was home to various prehistoric cultures and societies, each with their own unique customs and traditions. Of Uganda, a country located in East Africa. Uganda has a rich history marked by ancient kingdoms, colonial rule, and post-independence developments. Let's take a look at the key periods and events in the history of Uganda. First up, we have the pre-colonial period. This era is marked by the presence of ancient kingdoms such as the Baganda, Banyoro, and Toro kingdoms. These kingdoms played a significant role in shaping Uganda's history. Next, we have the early inhabitants and cultures. Uganda has a long history of human activity, dating back thousands of years. Archaeological findings indicate the presence of hunter-gatherer communities in the region. Then, we have the Bantu migration, which took place around 1000 BCE. This migration brought Bantu-speaking people to the region, further shaping the cultural landscape of Uganda. Stay tuned for more fascinating historical tidbits about Uganda.
Seychelles, an archipelago in the Indian Ocean. Seychelles history is marked by its geographical isolation, colonization, and eventual independence. Let's take a quick overview of the key periods and events in the history of Seychelles. First, let's talk about the early history of Seychelles. Did you know that before European exploration, Seychelles was uninhabited? However, Arab sailors and traders likely knew of its existence as they navigated the Indian Ocean. Now, let's move on to the European exploration and colonization period. Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama first discovered the islands in 1502, naming them after the Portuguese king at the time, Prince Henry. The French later claimed the islands in the 18th century, but the British seized them in 1794 during the Napoleonic Wars. Seychelles finally gained independence in 1976, becoming a republic within the Commonwealth. Botswana's history is marked by early human habitation, traditional societies, colonization, and a remarkable post-independence trajectory. Let's take a look at the key periods and events that shaped Botswana's history. First up, let's explore the early history of Botswana. The country's history dates back over 100,000 years, with evidence of early human habitation found in some of the world's oldest archaeological sites. The San Bushman people, who are among the oldest inhabitants of the region, still reside in Botswana today. Moving on to the prehistoric period, Botswana was home to a diverse range of early human inhabitants, including the San, Ko, and Khoisan peoples. These groups were followed by the Bantu-speaking people, who migrated from West Africa in the first millennium AD.
Namibia, a country located in southwestern Africa. Namibia's history is marked by early human settlement, European colonization, resistance movements, and eventual independence. Let's take a quick look at the key periods and events that shaped Namibia's history. First up, we have the early history of Namibia. This period is marked by the arrival of early human settlers, who left behind fascinating artifacts like the famous Twyfelfontein rock art. The San people, also known as the Bushmen, were among the earliest known inhabitants of the region. They lived as hunter-gatherers and left behind a rich cultural legacy. Next, we have the prehistoric period, which saw the emergence of the Khoikhoi and Herero peoples. The Khoikhoi were pastoralists, while the Herero were farmers and cattle herders. Both groups played a significant role in Namibia's history.
Of Cameroon, starting with its pre-colonial era. Did you know that the area now known as Cameroon has been inhabited for thousands of years? Early inhabitants included the Baka, also known as Pygmies, who still live in the forests of southern and eastern Cameroon. Various Bantu-speaking groups migrated to the region from the north around 2,000 years ago, establishing kingdoms and chiefdoms. Notable groups included the South Civilization near Lake Chad and the Bamileke and Bamoun kingdoms in the west. As we continue our journey through Cameroon's history, we'll explore the impact of European exploration and colonialism. Stay tuned for more fascinating historical tidbits. Thank you for joining Fidel Gaming today. If you enjoyed this history lesson, don't forget to follow and subscribe for more fascinating historical facts. Until next time, keep exploring.